अच्छा, क्या हो गया? फ्लाइट मोड में कैसे करें?
जी, वो स्लाइड शो आपके मेन्यू में दिख रही है ऊपर, एनिमेशंस के बगल में, होम पे आप हो।
नहीं,
इस
इसको कैसे हटाएं? हाउ
हाँ
टू
जी,
गेट रीड ऑफ दिस साइड
साइड
पैनल?
पैनल, साइड पैनल।
एक होता है, देयर वाज अ सिंबल
हाँ
एंड
जी,
आई डिडंट सी दैट सिंबल. अच्छा, शेयर इन शेयर. ओके, शेयर शेयर तो हो गया, बट हाउ टू?
Yeah, just go to the bottom. There is a presentation. Yeah,
वो ही नहीं ना मिल.
no, no, it's there. Yeah, it's there. I can see it.
You can see. So
Just
आपका
move. Yeah, move your mouse.
क्या डाउन बिलो?
Mm-hmm.
तो उसके बाद साउंड है, उसके बाद जूम माइक्रोफोन है, उसके बाद पता नहीं वन पर्सनल ड्राइव है, उसके बाद शो हिडन. उसमें कुछ नहीं, नॉर्मली वो यहीं कहीं होता है. अच्छा,
Yeah, yeah. Just move your mouse. You will see it.
I did the mouse. अच्छा, इतना कहीं तो होगा ना. सीरियसली. उसको जाने दो ऐसे. जी, right. All right. इसको छोटा कर. Okay, fine. Technology is helpful now. Okay, namaste everyone for coming to this lesson. This is the evolution of or emergence of traditions. So certain beliefs, they are repeated and eventually it becomes a tradition. And especially if they are passed on from one generation to another and it continues. So certain traditions from Hindu Dharma, they are they are being passed on and they are surviving all the attacks on Dharma as well as history as well as people. So, in spite of that, many traditions have survived, at least in the books and in our memory. Whether everybody does perform all those, observe those traditions or celebrate those things, that is a separate issue. But today, so we are going to do the fasts, fairs, and festivals and emergence of traditions and its grounding. something that grows has to come on a very stable ground. It has to be stable, rooted in a certain concept. So I'm just taking the concept first. Emergence of composite cultural ethos. So customs and traditions create culture. Culture, by definition, is cultivated behavior. So relation between Hindu beliefs and culture. Now, what is the stable pillar of culture is Hindu beliefs. Despite variation in regions, weather patterns, languages, Hindu shared common culture, a composite culture, where everything is discussed in the context of weather, and certain things are universally accepted and followed. So its core essence has survived the test of time. And that core essence is the beliefs. Despite whatever patterns, weather patterns are, or the emergence, it does affect. Weather patterns affect, and that we'll discuss. So, reverence for nature. This is the core belief which has guided us for making traditions. Most of these, our celebrations, they are related to season. So they are seasonal aspects of it. So in Delhi routines, we have salutation to dawn, Usha Vandanam. So it is also called Surya Namaskar. This is slightly different because this is salutation to dawn, and it is like 4:30 a.m. And then Surya Namaskar is actual offering of water and chants. Chants related to devas and devis, these are done daily. And these also form part of the Yajna ceremony and other festivals. And then lighting the diya. Lighting the diya is not only, symbolically like, lighting actual physical diya, it is that you have to kindle the mental faculties, the buddhi, chetna, focusing on that, developing that, and that is what the chants are. Chants also create a vibration. So it is, everybody knows, those who are in languages and linguistics, they understand that what is in poetry, that lasts. Poetry always survives the time, whereas a prose paragraph, you are likely to forget a line or two, or it's hard to, because chants are rhythm, and even if you miss a half a note, it is gone out of the meter. So that is why we have all that literature, Vedic literature, post-Vedic literature, because they were verses and they survived. And of course, many other things too. So we are talking about, what are we talking about? Yeah, 16 sanskars. So there are 16 sanskars besides relating to the seasons. And these sanskars relate to the growth of the person, even when the child is in mother's womb. It is some sanskars are performed at that time too. So this is let me explain sanskars first, and then we'll see the importance of observing. And these are the 16 sanskars. 3 ceremonies are performed before the birth. One is just when the conception takes place, and then the blessings of the father accompany. And then there is at the end of 3 months, and then at the end of 7 months. At the end of 7 months, it is Siman. It is called Siman. And the reason why that you have now you are carrying a child, which if it is born prematurely, it will still survive. So, which means that the man is now a father. His primary duty is going to be, so there are certain kind of pledges and certain kind of vows they have taken at the Siman. Mostly the father, that my priority is my children, and for the mother also. Then there is a Namkaran. Uh, then there is after the 40 days, taking the child out of the house, or after 10 days before that, after the birth. Then there is going and seeing the moon, and exposing him to the natural devas. And then upon the day, solid food is given. Then there is shaving of the head, piercing the ears. Then starting education, there are two. One of them is Upnayan and the other is shaving the head and with just a tuft on the top. And then there's finishing education and giving dakshina and graduation, like Kanyadan and Deshti. And one or other maybe missing here. Now, management of various phases of child's growth. Now, the parents and the gurus, they are guiding the child for developing a certain kind of behavior, attitudes, and a social personality. These three things are very important. At the same time, it is linking appreciation of Prakriti and seeking a connection with the higher divine creator. So all this is imbibed. And these sanskars, even though, in my time when we were going through educational process and all that, not all of them were performed, but I remember the Saraswati Puja on the day we were supposed to go to school. That was performed. And Namkaran also is even today performed in many places. And Upanayan is used to be performed at the age of 7. In Shri Krishna's case, it was observed at the age of 11. And the reason why it was done at 11, because the first 10 years he was busy defeating various evil Rakshas. And finally, when he got rid of Kans and liberated his parents, then he went for studies. So Sri Ram went to studies when he was 7 years old. So Vishnu Upanayan and getting rid of the age started at the age of 7. Whereas in Shri Krishna, so it means that it can vary the start of the education. And today, I only attended one or two Upanayan ceremonies, and they were performed when the high school was finished. Now, this, I must say this, what Upanayan is. At the age of 7, it has a different kind of connotation. At the age of 18, if you observe those and chant those pledges, it becomes a whole different kind of setting aside certain kind of urges and a different kind of, going through adolescence and with all the austerity. This is very interesting. So the pledges are at the age of 18 that you will live on Diksha and you will respect, never go near a woman, not touching the alcohol, this, that, and focus on studies and, observe all the sacred chants and ceremonies and all this. So when I attended and I literally understood what the priest was chanting, and the kid was saying 18 years old, he was saying yes in I do. At the end of it, I asked the boy, did you know what you have given up for the next 7 years? You have given up everything. In other words, it is such an austere life. Think what you have pledged to give up. And it is very hard. But probably at that stage, it is difficult. At the age of 7, you won't go near a woman, girl, or don't have a bad eye for that. And, it is doable, especially if you are in a Gurukul setting or that kind of open school setting. Marriage ceremony. This is a very controversial thing. Out of, all of these, this is Kanyadan. Now, and they say Kanya, your daughter is not a object that you have to, you can give a charity, give her away in charity. That is a very literal kind of connotation, but actually, I should give the meaning of dhan. What is the dhan? If you have something very important, you have plenty of money, and you give something out of that without hurting your own interests and well-being, it is not a dhan. Dhan is that, highest dhan is that when it pinches you, you have sacrificed something in order to give it that thing to somebody else. So there is a legend in one of those Panchatantra stories, and that a king asked all the audience that what is the greatest done in the world in your lifetime, and everybody comes out gold, silver, this, that, money, your clothes, a whole lot of things. And then there was a orangutan, langur, present and watching. He jumped down and he said, the greatest dhan is when a hungry person gives a fistful of rice to another hungry person. Now, this is a pinching that you remain hungry. So, Kanyadan, the most precious thing that a person is giving with a very heavy heart, that is Kanyadan. It's not charity, giving a charity of objects, and Kanya doesn't become charity, an object. It is something which was dear to me. I considered my own princess. I cherished, and now I am giving that precious thing for the well-being of the next family, where she will be hopefully nurtured. So these clarifications were necessary because in the Western academia and in the classrooms, this question becomes a controversy. Hindus give away their daughters in charity. So Upanan also. So these two, I really wanted that clarification, so that you as parents and teachers should be able to explain what are those distortions that the academia has done, and we Hindus have accepted. That is the funny part of it. And the purpose of all these lessons is to burst the myths and remove the distortions. That's the whole idea. So legends include the role of animals. Now, sanctity of our life is another very important belief, and therefore we have with the stories with animals participating. Just like I gave the story of langur, similarly, the animals' participation in human life is also mentioned, and legends are woven. So, and animals are there on the flags of the kingdoms. And then vegetarian, sanctity of life. So this is also another important thing, vegetarianism and fasting. So the West realizes the value of green energy now, several million, when it is too late. And we have already, the tipping point is way back. And now we are, this mantra is gaining ground, green energy. You pollute every day the waters, and the pipeline carrying oil, if that bursts, and the water sources are all connected, think of how inhuman that act is. You are really destroying the fundamental thing which is essential for life to survive. So these kind of slogans, they're meaningless unless you really do something and try to, remove those pollutants. Nag Panchami, celebrating and giving food to the Nag. Now everybody knows that cobra and serpents, they are our enemies. And they will bite us. Still, there are people who go to that hole from where the Nag probably emerges quite so often, and then they offer milk and chanting is there and all. And feeding the ants. This is another interesting concept. Feeding the ants. Whereas every day, the farmers and everybody and householders, we are destroying the ants. We are getting rid of them. They are so bothersome and they multiply. And that is the most, uh, uh, you cannot have an ant which will be ever extinct. It has survived it's the most ancient insect. So, feeding ants. So, what's the reason for that? And then, I remember one incident where somebody said that in the next several years, it was a private conversation, and he said that you will have a lot of anxiety and a lot of worries, and in order to cope with that, you should feed the ants. What has that to do with that? And then now I didn't do that. I did go through anxiety and worries and everything jolting me, but I didn't feed the ants because I didn't understand. Feeding the ants means they'll multiply to such an extent that eventually you will be more focused on getting rid of the ants, and forget about your other worries. So it is such a diversion and distraction. And if some ants come on the table where food is there, it becomes a distraction. So same way you forget your other worries and you remain busy tackling the ants and their multiplication. Now, is this animism? This is another, the British added this word, animism, that Hindus also have one sampradaya who is animist. And then they withdrew it because there were some, where do you draw the line? And who does it? And why? So their own ground for adding this word was so loose, they decided to leave it alone. Now, purification practices, daily routines are, having bath, purifying the mind and chanting and yoga and mental discipline. And then, of course, when the child goes to school, Before that, there is Ganesh Puja and bowing to the light. These are daily routines. And so that when you go, you are seeking perfection all through the day. Whatever you do, whatever the skills are, these are purification practices. And purification is also, it includes meditation, a certain kind of meditation where you completely isolate all the faculties of the mind, and there's complete darkness in the cave, which is the skull. And who sees that there is total darkness? Consciousness. Chitta is the only thing that is active, subconsciously or otherwise. Chitta is what notices and carries the prints. And the rest, the thoughts and everything is controllable to some extent. And the vibrations, they come and go. Thought is like a flash. So these purifications are focus factors, just as symbolism was. Fasting. Now, I wish that if you have a pen and pencil, just think how many fasting days are there in our calendar, in a 13 months of lunar calendar. So how many fasting? 10, 15, 20. Just jot it down and then we'll count it. If you're done, now let us see how many fasting and who does the fasting mostly. So fasting is in a month, there are 2 Ekadashis, 11th day of the going towards Shukla Paksha and going towards Krishna Paksha. So 2 Akashi, 13 times 2 is 26. Then there are 2 days in a month, full moon and new moon, that is also fasting. So 26 plus 36 is 52. Now these are standard 52. Now in a week, Monday is auspicious, Tuesday is auspicious, no egg, no this, limited fasting. Now you add another 52 and you have crossed 100 now. After that, there is Navratri. These are seasonal fasting. Seasonal, why? Because there are 2 crops, major crops, and they are green crops coming up in India, in that subcontinent. One is in September, October, the other is in spring. So Vaisakhi is the day of harvesting. And earlier than that, harvesting is done in the south. So they have their separate ceremonies at a different time. So Navratri, there are 10 fasts, 9 actually, and 9 plus 9 is another 18 fasting. The idea is that if the grain is growing in that season, 7 days at least you should refrain from that. Otherwise, you are having too much condensed protein, and this is harmful for the body. So twice this happens. I mean, I'm telling you the rationale. And this part I read in source of this revelation was from Sushira's Samhita. He was long back, a millennia back before the Common Era. And he wrote Sushira Samhita. He was the first known surgeon after Dhanvantri. And he has explained why fasting is necessary in those days. The grain is too much, and now let us do the fasting. And on the 8th day, grain is going to give us Shakti. We do Durga Puja, which is the nourisher and the symbol of Shakti, and we do the break the fast. So that is that. And similarly, there are other fasts people observe on certain days. And now the question is, this is again the Western people, and they ask that this is oppression of women, that women are doing the fasting. Now that is another distortion, and we must do the myth busting here. Why women have to do? You see, now Navratri fasting men also do because this is common. For women, the fasting on Ekadashi is really necessary because a woman's cycle is divided in two parts, like the towards the middle part, Ekadashi, the body is accumulating protein because it is expecting something to happen. And then it doesn't happen. And then on the next Ekadashi, you are getting again doing fasting to get rid of accumulated fasting. So this fasting is twice a month. Even though nature takes care of the extra stuff every month, still fasting is to get rid of the protein that the body produced for a certain event did not happen. So you do the fasting. So this is very scientifically valid point, and it is not that men are oppressing. It is not that it is mandated by men. Um, that's not so. And the second thing about fasting by women is that sometimes their work is sitting down or feeding the child. So it is necessary that even if your body is not in that phase going through, even then, Ekadashi once a month is recommended. And not recommended doesn't mean that there is hard and fast rule, because fasting is a hard job, because it's not the body rebels, it's the mind rebels. The moment in the morning you think that today is I'm fasting, your mind is torturing you. That okay. So now duties and rights in Dharma. This is emergence of traditions now. How the duties and rights, first from the point of view of education, then from the point of view of traditions, and now we are coming down to the plethora or the solid stuff that we compiled. So, Dharma by definition, we have done that. Various ways we mean align ourselves with the natural law. It lays down the duties of a person according to the role one plays. And here, the duties vary. It is not that a child's duty is the same as a other person's duties, or your duty at this stage is different from mine. So people fulfill their duties according to swadharma, their own role at a certain phase in life, at a certain time. So it is swadharma. And it is desh kal nimit. What does that mean? That it is relative to the time and relative to the place where you are living. So, and this is also part of sanskars. This is cultivating sanskars. Hindu Dharma does not talk about the rights of a person. I never read anywhere that I have this right. It's my right. When each person fulfills his duties, everybody's right is protected. If I think that I should not hurt anybody, that person's right is protected. If I don't enforce a certain kind of speech, that person's right is protected, right of speech. If I don't try to break the assembly of people, unless we're fighting, um, your right is not, others' right is not violated. So you mind your duties and do this for Dharma. You are not violating anybody's rights. They are given of the situation then. A good householder has 5 duties to perform: duty towards his ancestors, his parents, guests, older relation, and towards the self. Actually, the 5 duties are inculcated at the time, all through the education time. It is specially mentioned at the time of the wedding. Lest you forget that you have duties towards the rest of the world as well, not to each other. So this nuclear family business and not having children because you are it hinders your other accomplishments or goals. That nonsense does not exist in Hindu Dharma, and that is clear. That it says that you have 4 debts that you have to pay in your lifetime, right? Beside these 5 duties which are inculcated all through life, these are specifically mentioned both in the medical books and in the darshans, that there are 4 debts that one has to discharge, and how to discharge those debts. The debt to the parents who gave you birth. Now, parents give you birth, and how can you ever pay? There is no way the sacrifices they made for us, gave us birth, and went through the pains and disappointments. How can we pay the debt of parents? And in one of the incidents, he was talking to his another person from. I'll tell you the story later. And Shri Krishna says that you must get married in order to have procreation. This is the way to discharge that debt. This rin can only be done by getting married at the appropriate time and have children. And to the teachers, by spreading knowledge to others. The knowledge that the teachers have given, you pass it on. That is your debt discharge. To the society, seva, service to the society, feeding the poor and providing the shelters and taking care of the helpless. This is the rin discharge. To the devas, and this is interesting. How do you pay the debt of devas? You worship nature, or you show reverence and maintain the ecosystem, not destroy it. So that green energy basis, the prakriti, the balance in the nature has to be maintained, and that is the way you discharge your debts. So it's all, like recommended things and revealing things and making you grow up. Nobody says that you do this, and not many people are doing this, but still, the guideline, the moral compass is there. So, Karam Khan versus mandates. We don't have any mandates. Not going to church or temple on Sunday. Does this mean one is going to hell? No. People don't go to temples. And if they go, there is a specific reason. Chalo, let us go to the temple, just like that. Or there are some special festivals, or somebody is doing some special ceremony, and we go there. So on Shivratri, we go on Diwali. Is the sermon by the priest the only way to go to heaven? We couldn't care less about what the medium is. Half the people are talking when the priest is talking or chanting. So that is how much we care about what the priest is asking us to. So it is absolutely, first of all, there is no heaven. We did that in lesson 5. And secondly, priest is immaterial. And the third most important thing is that all the chants are in the first person. So if the priest is chanting and you are not chanting, that means the priest is chanting for his own upliftment or self-realization. If he says, Aham Namami or Ganeshai Namami, that means I'm doing it. Namami is in first person. Nama is also doing the first person. If the priest is doing it, then we are not doing it. It is his karma, not mine. So, are we broken to be fixed by the priest who professes to be God's agent? No. There is no intermediate intermediary between me and whoever is the divine. I don't know the divine, nobody does. And how do I know that he is the agent? You see, agent whose agent, and who appointed him. So, this God, qualities of God, wrath, fury, or revenge. You see, if these are the qualities of God, then what are the qualities of devil? Wrath, fury, revenge are devilish. We call it Dattya buddhi, tamsik buddhi. How can God be having tamsik? Divine is the opposite of tamas. So is Dharma a pluralistic tradition? Yes. With the growth in traditions, with the merger of different cultures, with the development of different languages from original Sanskrit to Pali and Prakrit, and then other languages, obviously it becomes pluralistic. And because of the season in South India, the Maghi is celebrated at a certain time, and we are celebrating at a different time. It is natural because the seasonal harvesting varies. Harvesting season varies, in other words. And then, the new year that I do separately. So, do Semitic religions allow such freedom? No. In one of the interfaith, I attended several interfaith conferences where everybody gave the presentation, said something, this or that. Buddhist was there, Sufis were there, and then the one Christian priest was there. He picked up he brought a bottle of water, and he picked it up and threw it by crushing. And he said, "You are without the priest, this broken water." I can never forget that scene of mess the water bottle created on the floor. So, no freedom is allowed. This way you are going, Sunday you are going, you are listening, and you are 10 times getting up and down. Stop. We don't believe in any kind of rigid regiment. Should the followers of Semitic religion be allowed to critique and question Hindu holy books? That you have to decide. Unless we understand ourselves what we are talking about and what is the basic idea behind ceremonies, we allow them freedom to criticize us. You see? So chants are in the first person, as I mentioned. So if anybody is asking the priest to do 100,000 times and one Mahamritanjay Jap, the credit goes to the Pandit, not to you. It is first person. So does every Hindu observe the ceremonies? No. Do they fast? Some do, some don't. Do they observe daily routines? Mostly they do. Hindus do. Not all the ceremonies or routines, but having a bath and doing Ganesh Puja or lighting the diya, many households do. believe in the existence of the divine? Yes, most of them do. They don't try to name it, but they try to define it. So what happens if one doesn't observe any of the above? Nothing. Nothing happens. Is that person a sinner and he needs atonement? No. Karam once done cannot be cancelled, nor can karam thought. If this fundamental thing is understood, that the action reaction chain is immutable, then atonement of any person that I forgive you, and you see, most some philosophers in the West also, they believed that it is man who forgets and forgives. God does neither. Obviously, what are they saying? That karma once done, because now you move on to the next dynamics. In a dynamic world, nothing is static. What was done was T0 time. Now we are in the next moment. And next moment has changed the whole reality around us because of our karma. So we cannot alter the karma path. So if we have to really be afraid, we have to be afraid of our own actions. Then there is one ashram, this is also part of it. And this is 4 phases of life. And each has duties, responsibility, discipline. Brahmacharya, when we are getting skills and education, developing the social behavior, human behavior, and all that. These vary with the phases in which a person is. So Brahmacharya has a different responsibility, discipline, and a married person has a different. And the third phase, Varnashram, is a different. And then the last one is different, renunciation, sannyas. So Vanaprastha is you are still in society, dedicated to society. Renunciation, sannyas is when you are completely letting go everything. So, but what remains throughout all these phases is Maryada, which is social parameters of behavior, and Sanyam, which is self-control. So among the 10 Dharamdas Lakshana, these are separately mentioned. Mano Nigraha, Indriya Nigraha, and Niyam. So, Niyam Pala. Now, yajna ceremonies, it is a sacrificial ceremony. What do we sacrifice? We offer our own desires, ego, Atma. And who do we offer? To Devas. And we invite Agni Deva, that is the Purohit or the in charge. And then we invoke other Devas. It's not a sacrifice of people or animals. And this is a fundamental thing. It is not killing animals or celebrating inhumanity or glorify cruelty. And Christians, in many of our functions or outside our temples, they carry, in Calcutta, there is Kali Puja, and there is blood going on in the open drains, and there is to Kali Mata, a goat is offered. That is a singular kind of thing. And there are a couple of references in the history of Rajasthan, but most of it is only in that particular temple. So if anybody says that it is a common practice and yajna is, inhumanity and it's glorifying cruelty and blah, blah. Agni is not just fire, it's a symbol of knowledge, speech, eyesight, light. Through Agni we extend. Now, Havan could symbolizes 5 elements of our body. So it's the bhumi, the earth is one element, and then it goes like this and like this, and those 5 layers are uh, uh, water, air, and Agni. Agni is the top one. And Akash, that is the open. So all the Ahutis, they vanish in the atmosphere. That is Akash. So Yajna Kund, Havan Kund, is symbolically made in the same way as if it is our body. Swaha means I am giving up. Ahuti is what is being offered. So internal offerings are ahutis, offering of the self and what it possesses. Material offerings relate to other material things that we get from Mother Earth, the ghee, samagri, and all that. Swaha comes from the word swahutam, swahutam, offering of the self. So word ahuti and havisha do not translate into sacrificing any living creature. We are sacrificing ourselves. And there's a mention of a massive yajna performed by a king, Harishvardhan, and where he gave everything, the treasury, everything that he possessed, and even he borrowed the clothes from his sister and gave up his clothes. So that is the extent to which the sacrifice is symbolized in Bhavan. Yajnas are also performed to balance the Panchabhutas, 5 elements, purify the atmosphere. You see, one of the sterilizing method performed by surgeon used to be performing Havnas. And that yajna used to be, the samagri used to be different kind of herbs. Some of them acted as anesthesia, some of them acted as sterilization. So clean the water, preserve the vegetation, create positive vibration among people. It teaches humility and detachment. Nothing is mine in the end. I can give it now as well. Humility. I am nothing. And I want nothing. Now this is one of the Havan Kund made. This Dr. Subhash Kar, he made this falcon shaped Havan Kund. It is still done in Kerala, falcon shape. Anybody who is making this kind of shiva or yagashala, please check out how many branches of mathematics are needed. You see? And this is a continuous tradition. I've forgotten the year when last time, about 30 years back or so, 40 years back, it was performed. It takes 9 months to construct this. And after the yajna, 5 days, it is destroyed. So festivals and Rita, that I already explained, relating to the changes in season, like Navratri Puja and all. Achievement of kings and dynasties. Since we have not started kings and dynasties, but you understand there are historical events like Diwali and Ram Navami. So these are historical. These are historical figures. Govardhan Puja, historical. Okay. Then some are local customs, like Adivasi, forest dwellers. They have different customs. And then there are regional variations. And then there is, this is very special. Aside from other devatas like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, many people have Isht Devata, their favorite Deva. And many people have Ram Devata. The whole village has one Devata. So it is called Gram Devata, Isht Devata. That kind of freedom That kind of freedom is fundamental to Hindu Dharma. No other man-made doctrine allows you all these kind of beliefs. And some think Shiv is the ultimate reality. Some say Vishnu is the ultimate reality. Well, whatever you want to say, say. Nobody has anything to do with it. Then holy day of the week. Holy day of the week, all are holy days. But Saturday is holy day, Tuesday is a holy day, Monday is a holiday. These are the days when you are having sattvic bhojan, vegetarian food, not allowed to have meat or eggs or cooked, that kind of thing. And for the non-vegetarian people, these 3 days are like torture. There is a saying in Punjab, in Punjabi, I mean, almost like the Pashto. It says, आज तेरी पुण्या ते कल तेरी मस्या. आज तेरी पुण्या ते कल तेरी मस्या ते मीट केड़े दिन खाया. Today is your full moon, and now comes the new moon. And when are we going to eat the meat? So this is a common saying. Holy month of the year is Margshish, which is November, October, like that. Cycle of the years is linear centuries. 60 years compose a cycle. Significance of the New Year's wishes. New Year's is every year, every day, because new beginning is made every day. So, but significance of the New Year is when the northern hemisphere tilts towards the sun. So that is winter solstice. When do Hindus celebrate New Year? They used to celebrate, and even now they do, 5 days of doing Ganesh Puja, and that is winter solstice. So from that day, the longer days started. Actually, the holidays of those 10 days, they were called Badadin, that the days are getting longer. So Hindus celebrate New Year. Then there are historical events, and Vikram Singh, one of the kings, Vikram Singh, he started the new year after Diwali, because Diwali day he came after winning a war, and that is still celebrated. That is one. Then there is Kali Yuga New Year, when the Kali Yuga started, and it is still continuing, and that is in the month of Chaitra, like March, April. And then there is harvesting New Year in Punjab, which is Baisakhi. So you can understand such diversity is only possible if you have freedom of will. And now these are everybody knows Uttarayan, Lodi, Makar Sankranti. You can Google. This is interesting. You see, Shravan Maas is celebrated for the monsoons. Shrad are given Shraddhanjali. And then there is Shat Purnima, when the moon is nearest to the earth. That day used to be celebrated as, wearing strange costumes and doing funny things on the streets. And nobody knows who is doing what because you are all masked. It was called Comedy Mahotsav. Now, you can think of Halloween like that. So that was Shat. And the word comedy, look at the Sanskrit word is comedy. Kamudi. Giving way to your urges, letting it go. Comedy. So see how the language words have been taken from different languages. So the Bali Bhai doing you. And pilgrimages, plenty of them are there. You can add another 20 or something. But on certain days, certain pilgrimages are done, like Kumbh Mela. On a certain day, it is done. I mean, those span up. And the confluence of rivers, that is also a pilgrimage, like Sangam, where Kosi meets, and where Sarju meets, and where Gondwal in Punjab, where Ravi and Vyas meet, and that kind of confluence of rivers. So that slide, you can, every guidebook for tourism to India gives you a snapshot of all these things. So what is the sum of all this? That is, the sum is that we have variation and we have free will. You do it in a certain way or you don't do it, it is up to you. Okay. All right. If you have any question, please.
You had an excellent presentation. So thank you very, very much.
Thank
So a lot of information that you provided or knowledge you provided, I have that information, but for example, 16 sanskars, I didn't have that information, but some of the practices are lost. And what I'm told is that up till now, my generation, I'm 70 years old. So up to my generation, my parents followed all of these things very religiously. But I migrated to USA and I tried to follow the fairs and festivals when my children were relatively young, up to 16, 17 years of age. But once they went to college, these traditions kind of vanished. And so I'm wondering if you have any insight into how, and they say that this tradition, oral tradition, is even further threatened with respect to the next generation that is coming up, particularly second generation American Indians here, but also in India. So I don't know if you have any thoughts as to what one can do in order to sort of revive some of these practices and at the practical place, and also of course the wisdom. So the wisdom is contained in your book, in your lectures, and the information, but it has to be practiced also. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about those.
Yes, actually, bookish knowledge or audio-visual thing vanishes. So gyan, in order to perforate through your body, has to be practiced. And the
Correct.
best time to do is right from the age the children start responding to the surroundings.
Mhm.
Right away, they don't respond. But once they start seeing around, they respond also, they laugh. And that is the time when you start. Rhythm,
Okay.
tal. So,
Okay.
Srishti started with tal, drum,
Okay.
W. You see? And that is when you start. I used to go like this with my grandchildren and dum 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 ru baje. Now, this is, you know,
Okay.
it is
Yes, yes.
entertaining, it is audio, it is action, it's
Yes, yes.
film. And then, so finally, I gave all these lessons all through their first, my grandchildren, 16.
Aha. Okay.
I used to drop them to school. And in those
Okay.
7 minutes, I used to rub everything.
Uh-huh.
To
Okay,
start
okay.
with the must was Ganeshaya Nama at home, and then
Okay,
Gayatri Mantra.
okay, okay,
Getting into the van, and then the last one as you turn towards the school, Shanti Mantra.
okay, okay. Understood. Yeah, thank
So,
you.
and this kept on, these three things were continuing all through the years. And then I added different concepts and the nature. I took them to the backyard, what grows, what mutates, and how it
Yes,
evolves, reincarnation,
yes,
environmental protection and all that. All these concepts are built by visual and emotional experience. Then
okay.
finally, they were like 15 years old, 14 years old. They said that now that you have done so much for us, why don't you write
Yes.
a book on these lessons?
Uh-huh.
So I
Uh-huh.
wrote a book that was published in 2013. It
The
is
Hindu Dharma.
Hindu Dharma Teaching Guide.
Okay,
So
okay.
it
Yes, yes.
starts from the age of 4 to 8.
Yes,
These are all lessons. How you see.
I see.
You see,
Okay, okay.
otherwise people say, where do I start? What should I say?
Correct,
So
correct,
you
exactly.
start by giving them an experience.
Okay.
And so it is all the way up to the college. So these books are
Okay.
available in the Kindle form. I am a hard copy person. So I don't know how to read the e-version, but
No,
they
this
are
is very
available. Okay. Anybody else? No? We're done for the day?
Kamlesh, I had made a few suggestions in the chat.
Yeah, I
Uh,
see that. Srishti was Mahesh.
Maheshwar Sutram.
Yes. Ancestral mother tongue in the house and Sanskrit language. Yeah. You see, the first one is too dense.
Yes,
It needs, 3, 4
it
lessons.
needs
And
explication.
this is not for students.
Yes.
The lessons are in depth for the teachers and parents, and then they simplify it according to their
Understood.
chapter. Yeah.
Understood.
So I give the concept and the practices and the emotional experience,
Yes.
which is the basis of concept. So,
Yes.
and the second question, mother tongue and Sanskrit language. You see, one of the greatest misfortune, there are many misfortune connected with Nehru becoming the prime minister, that he did not recognize in the official language is Sanskrit. He did not recognize Sanskrit at all. You see, so we were cut off from our tradition. I grew up as an agnostic because where to start? So you see, this is the issue, historical misfortunes, starting with that Gandhi kid, man, whatever, and Nehru and the entire progeny.
ये हमेशा होता रहेगा, ये संसार का नियम है। वो
No,
विघ्न हरता
Sarkar
हमेशा
also,
रहेंगे। गणेश जी हमें हमेशा याद करके आगे बढ़ते रहना है। ये लोग कभी,
yeah,
this has always been, even in Ram ji's time there was a Ravan, in Krishna ji's
no,
time there was
now everybody is a Ravan. There is Ravan ki Sena. So you see, the Kali Yuga means, or tamas means when tamas is predominant.
yes.
In different yuga, there was kind of different balance. Tamasic less, sattvic more.
हाँ जी।
Then rajas and tamas.
हम्म,
Then sattva, rajas and tamas. And
हाँ
then
जी।
only tamas, illusion and you see, one of that episode in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is that Prithvi went to Brahma,
Hmm.
that I have lost all my limbs.
Hmm.
She is in, Prithvi is in the form of a cow and asked
Hmm.
that my three legs are missing.
Hmm.
And after that, those three legs, Gyan, Vigyan, and
Hmm.
self Adhyata.
Hmm.
These three legs are missing, and I only have one leg, Bhakti.
Hmm.
And then Brahma says that you should listen to the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that is the way to clear your mind in.
Hmm.
And this is where that what I mean is that right now we have illusion hearsay, low कहते you know who are those low? When you are telling your own opinion and you say somebody said this, actually somebody not said it. You are saying it because you are not revealing the source. You see, this is your own opinion you are covering up. So anyway, in these two books, uh, uh, history book, and this is not covered in the history books before ever. Now that they have allowed, in one of the, I was a guest lecturer in one of the DAV college.
Hmm.
They said that please don't use the word Hindu Dharma. Why not? And he says we are secular, otherwise we won't get the grant. So such is the atrocity of the word secular. So we all grew up without knowledge. So now things are getting better, and I'm glad. So, bottom line is you have freedom and to accept or not accept and develop your own self-realization.
Hmm.
The next thing is whatever you can give to your children, do
Hmm.
get involved
Yes.
because so much nonsense is going on, which is so unnatural to human species. You see, this transgenderism, I have never heard this nonsense before.
सबसे बड़ा खतरा मैंने देखा है मिसयूज ऑफ टू टर्म्स. एक तो टर्म है सोल और दूसरा एक टर्म है स्पिरिट. इन दोनों चीजों से संभाल के रखना है क्योंकि आत्मन का गलत उच्चारण उन इनके साथ जोड़ दिया जाता है. ओ सोल अप्रोक्सीमेट्स टू आत्मन और स्पिरिट. और वेस्ट में तो दूसरा भी एक प्रचलन आ गया है कि आई एम स्पिरिचुअल बट आई एम नॉट रिलीजियस. तो भैया जो मेरा पोजीशन है कि भैया दिस
No, no.
religion is all about
That is,
organization of morality. You cannot be spiritual without being moral.
no, you're wrong.
Hmm.
Religion is man-made.
Hmm.
It's realignment done by certain sects.
Hmm.
Like in 3rd century, Christianity was started.
Hmm.
And then they made a pact with the Jews that we won't persecute you. So it became Judeo-Christian, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's man-made.
Hmm.
Dharma is a divine something, who knows? That divine created. Like Einstein said that if I knew what is in divine creator's mind, in mathematical terms, I'll create the universe.
This is I think
We don't know. Let us confirm this point that we don't know. This
पर
divine.
यही तो बात है. They think that the mind of man is the will of God, and they are saying his intention is the commandments that I'm giving you.
Yeah, who gave the commandment?
ये तो मैन आदमी के लिखे हुए चीजें हैं.
Ah, so that is what I said, that if divine is has fury, it has vindictiveness, then what kind of divine is that?
Hmm.
Divine literally means shiny or giver.
Hmm.
All right. Anybody else know? No. Raise hands if you want to say something. All right, then it's done.
Yeah, I think it's done.
Okay, then namaste. Next time.
Namaste ji.
Namaste ji. Next time it will be Pan-Asian culture. How the
Very
culture
good.
spread and how everybody up to Eurasia were Hindus. And I'll explain how that was done. Okay. Thank you very much and namaste.